with the worst record is the one favorite in this matchup, but we're jumping into champion select, so we're headed back to Quick Shot and Azael to get you the action.
I think that's a fantastic point, Dash. It is very weird to say, but it is very weird to see how much LCK is struggling here in the group stage thus far, albeit it's only on day 3. Right, turn our attention to the draft. Analyst Desk have set up the impact and the changes to the playstyle that Blabber will bring. And just to catch us up on the draft, Tom Kench, Lissandra, Zaya off the table, Kindred targeted towards Blabber already.
Yeah, not too much of a surprise. And it does seem like C9 are kind of catering their picks and bans to actually not going for Ornn. Very likely will be Urgot picked up here for Licorice. They want to try to play that Urgot into Aatrox matchup, I am assuming, but wow. Actually going to go for the Alistar first pick, which was not something I thought would see that much priority for Zeyzal in particular.
What does this mean? Project forward. What do you think Cloud9 are trying to do? Is just buying time and information?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's just that the Asian teams have put such incredible priority on the Alistar, so not only are you getting that strong engage for yourself, you're denying it from your opponents. They have taken Tom Kench off the table, which is something a lot of people use to answer it. And to me, this also means Licorice was happy playing both sides of the matchup. You can see that Kuve actually chose to take the Aatrox over the Urgot, as Papa Smithy has said. A lot of times in the LCK top laners actually do believe this matchup to be Aatrox favored at the highest level, whereas elsewhere in the world, we really have been seeing the Urgot win that matchup.
I'm excited to see how it plays out because Kuve yesterday was fantastic against RNG, and Licorice has really been the standout player for Cloud9. So seeing this matchup once again, but in different players' hands. And then we get, again, this East versus West, right? It's been the day of East versus West for you and I, Azael.
Oh.
The next lock-in will be a Tristana for Sneaky.
Very early Tristana here, too. So GENG could grab something, you know, for... I thought they might have grabbed a Varus here, honestly, but very high priority on the engaged supports here. They're going to be able to grab up the Rakan. Don't want to risk that being banned away. This does mean, though, that Cloud9 have the opportunity to actually try to target Ruler's champion pool here, while GENG may look to attack some of those aggressive picks from Blabber. We saw the Xin hovered. That is going to be banned away. You protect that Taliyah in that kind of 1v1 matchup. Blabber does like to play aggressive. He is not someone who is scared of taking risks. Reaper calling him a popcorn. You never know which way he's going to pop. I love that analogy now. But, you know, I think that this does hurt his jungle matchup a little bit, but the Varus taken away, as I expected. I think Cloud9 really should look to protect Sneaky in that lane.
Especially because Sneaky has had an underwhelming start to the World Championship. This is a player that has, for the longest time, just been consistent. Has been, you know, has been a player that delivers. And some uncharacteristic mistakes. So the Tristana gives him a little bit more safety in that role. Camille, once again, will be taken off. So Nocturne, Kindred, Xin, Camille. Like, where does Blabber go, you know, next? What champion would you like to see?
Olaf? Yeah, I think Olaf is probably where I'm thinking. There are other ways you can kind of look at that, right? You know, it depends on how you actually want to try to play it. He is known for his, you know, Hecarim that could come out. We did see Hecarim played by Licorice, but you can actually play that in the jungle as well if you want a really aggressive pick. We know that he can play a ton of different champions along those lines.
What would it take to see Hecarim here? Is Genji's comp something you play? No, we'll have that discussion off air, Zale.
Yeah.
It's going to be the Jarman locked in. Jen's going to secure the Galio. But again, it'll be Blabber that'll be dictating the pace.
I honestly love this for C9. When you're looking at the fact that you've got a J4 Galio combo when there was 4 bans thrown towards your jungle and you second rounded it, like, you're feeling pretty damn good about that. I will be interested to see if the Aatrox is going to get flexed mid lane, or if they actually want to do something like a Poppy jungle. There are a lot of options to flex around. I'm expecting Aatrox to go mid, Poppy to go top, Taliyah jungle, so that looks like it will be the answer here. Ruler on the Lucian, though, has the ability to really punish this Tristana, and it's going to be a lot on Zeyzal and his execution to really be on point with his combos. And, you know, while Sneaky certainly has made some mistakes, I think that Zeyzal has not been the strongest laner, has not really been executing on the highest level, and Sneaky's strength generally is more in the team fighting.
Got it.
So if you can get him to that team fight, you have the Galio to protect him, you have Licorice in this front line, you have the pieces in place to keep him safe. If C9 were to get to that team fight stage, it could be looking pretty good for them.
I'm just so scared. Getting through the laning phase, it didn't happen against RNG, if I recall correctly, that dive comp over and over, and Sneaky and Zeyzal, they just got bullied around. And as you mentioned already, Azael, Rakan Lucian, there is a devastating combo. If at any point Haru decides to come down, a lot more pressure. Nevertheless, Cloud9, they are 1-1 in the group. It is in fact GENG who needs to pick up a win here. If they go 0-3, there's only ever been one team that has made it back into the quarterfinals, made it back to the next stage.
Who was it, Trevor? Tell me.
It was Fnatic.
It was it?
Zale. They managed to do so last year. And I'm going to run the risk of throwing down a caster curse. I apologize in advance if I do curse us, Azale.
Okay.
But we have already seen one North America win today.
That's true.
If Cloud9 use all the tools you talked about to pick up the second North America win, then you and I are the good luck charms for the NALCS.
And you know what that means?
Tell me.
It actually becomes a contractual obligation that you then cast the rest of the North American games
Well, you
at
speak,
Worlds.
you speak to the producers.
You should have read the fine print. It's in there.
If it happens, we'll let them know. But it's all on Cloud9 to prove us to be the good luck charms. And we've already highlighted some of the strengths and the weaknesses in the bottom half of the map, but let's turn our attention to this top half. Poppy into Urgot, it's not something we've seen a lot this World Championship, but I can see how the tools of the steadfast presence and being able to deny some of the movement abilities on Cloud9 will really benefit GENG.
And I think denial is the key word there. You're going to be looking at Cuvée to really use that steadfast presence well to actually be able to deny the Jarvan engage, Galio jumping forward, Licorice jumping forward, the Alistar jumping forward. Like, everyone can get actually blocked by that. So it's about that timing. It's very much not about the lane. While he may be able to kind of hold even, you do give Licorice the laning advantage, and he should have pressure. That, to me, puts more onus on Cloud9 to try to make plays around the map with this Jarvan, try to get in the face of Haru, and maybe look to kind of link up with Jensen and try to play for this Galio Jarvan 2v2.
It's amazing how much energy and excitement there's in the background just for dancing. And you've touched on all of the abilities and key tools that GENG and Cloud9 can touch. I'm very anxious for Cloud9 because the man that will disrupt all of their mobility, all of their engages, is Cuvée. And this is just a guy who shows it. He gets the world's buff every World Championship. And he's on the game-changing champion in Poppy. Nevertheless, turn our attention to the screens. CoreJJ and Ruler. Didn't see them go for the invade. I was holding my breath. Aframu lauded them as one of the top 3 duo lanes in the entire World Championship.
And look at this. Licorice is still not in lane. He's actually zoning Cuvée just out of that wave. So pretty interesting stuff. Does chunk him down a little bit, and neither of the members will lose experience, which is kind of that key thing to pay attention to. But yeah, definitely Cuvée has been insane, not only at Worlds, but throughout the gauntlet. He was actually nuts for GENG, and really one of the big reasons that they even qualified in the first place. So definitely a lot of credit to him, and we're going to have to pay so much attention to this bottom lane and how Sneaky and Zeyzal are really able to manage it, because you can see how much emphasis Ruler is putting on actually anytime Sneaky steps forward to CS, he's stepping forward to trade.
Yeah, and you can see GENG going to get the advantage here towards level 2. Zeyzal and Sneaky respecting it and backing away. CoreJJ, now the tempo has turned. He steps all the way forward and says, "You shall not pass," pushing Cloud9's duo lane back. Kind of expected, and I think this is how this lane will play out for the next few minutes. So we need to see if Cloud9 will get
Flapper is behind Crown, though, and Jensen has level 3 now.
All right, the taunt will come in shortly. Flash is available to Crown. Gets knocked up in the air by the flag and
Should be
drag.
going down.
200 hit points. The Winds of War are flashed away from. And Blabber, the substitute, gets first blood. But how on earth did they trade back? Was that the Ignite? Yes,
yeah, the Ignite does finish him off. Still, though, 4C9, they pick up first blood. It does give Crown an advantage in the 1v1, though, so Jensen is going to have to be very careful about that. Well played by Crown to trade back. Zeyzal and Sneaky now, it's up to them to just farm well under the turret. They have been pressured in, but if you can keep your farm high, that is okay. It's not that easy CSing under turret, though, with the Tristana and that explosive shot passive.
Yeah, it gets very frustrating. Relic Shield stacks were there for Zeyzal. Manages to get most of them, as you would hope to see in this level of play. But for Blabber, very exciting to see him. First game, picking up first blood.
Yeah, this is honestly really nicely done there. Jensen doesn't get out of the Infernal Chains, and I don't think he needed to commit that far forward, and then the cannon is actually on him. He could have perhaps backed off. I'm not sure if it would have made the difference. It's hard to tell, but the cannon stayed aggro on him, and perhaps if he backed all the way off, he could have survived, but I do think he didn't even need to commit that far forward, and that Jarvan could have finished off the kill.
I wasn't even watching his HP bar, but take a look at this. The taunt connects, as well as the Demacian Standard, and the Dragon Strike. Crown goes low. But yeah, I mean, you can't afford a mistake like that, or you can't afford to give up that kill to a cannon minion, especially into this Aatrox.
Well, and to be fair, again, the Ignite may have finished him off regardless, and so I'm not sure there, but I do think he could have backed off earlier either way and probably survived. That being said, it's a nice return gank from Blabber to try to make sure Jensen stays safe in this lane.
Well, let's turn our attention to Crown on the Aatrox. You know, Crown, as far as a mid laner goes, has really traditionally most of his career been that defensive control mage star. What do you think of him on an Aatrox?
Hey, I mean, he obviously has the confidence here. You know, a lot of people think of Crown, they think of, okay, yeah, it's the guy who played Malzahar into Faker. It's that sort of, you know, defensive neutralizing style. But he's confident to go into Jensen, and he's winning this lane.
Yeah, I think somewhat expected during the early stages as well in terms of the kit, but this game may be defined by mid. Blabber and Haru making their way. If anything happens, then they're both there to engage.
And remember, I mean, they flexed this pick over there to try to give it to Crown, knowing that it would be into this Galio. So certainly Crown was happy to take that matchup, and I think it was more about giving him the preferential 1v1 than it was about anything else happening on the top side of the map. So Jensen is going to have to play well to kind of hold safe. That being said, Galio at 6, if he has the push, can really affect the other sides of the map and combos so well with that Jarvan. So he could look to make playmaking elsewhere.
Yeah, and we need to see it from Jensen as well. You need to get Licorice or Sneaky ahead to have that mid to late game insurance, you know. Nevertheless, you're getting me
Haru is here.
This will be a 2v2. Jensen's pretty low on HP. Blabber needs to hit the knockup if the fight ensues. Core JJ's arrived as well. Cataclysm comes down. Crown gets the knockup as well. And Core JJ picks up a kill for GENG.
Yeah, Blabber hit 6 there and thought, I can kill this guy before he actually, you know, gets enough health to kind of survive. But unfortunately for them, Core JJ was in the back and Aatrox hit 6 too.
And there we go, Azale. We've seen the popcorn popping off and popping down.
Yeah, so watch this one more time. It's all about the experience here. They see Haru coming in, so they're like, okay, back up. But then Blabber, he's hitting the minions, and right as he hits 6, he's like, all right, in I go. But the level up as he's getting comboed there from Crown, and the fact that Core JJ shows up, such a good roam there from Core JJ, means they can't get anything done.
No, they cannot. So GENG take the kill lead at 2-1. And very, as you mentioned, good roam. Core JJ understanding or reading how much focus was put mid, so he's dancing around there to try help out Crown.
And using the pressure that they had bot lane, because honestly, you have to give credit to Sneaky and Zeyzal. They are doing very well. If Sneaky picks up all this farm, he's actually up in farm over the Lucian. So what they did utilize that pressure for was the ability to roam, was the ability to impact that 1v1.
And the question is, will it come back to bite GENG in the bottom? Because if you don't punish this Tristana and get ahead, I much prefer Tristana in the mid to late game team fights than I do Lucian, especially when Sneaky needs some of those safety tools, the rocket jump, the buster shot, to help him out, to you know, find a performance that we haven't seen yet.
Yeah, it's really hard to tell, you know, if it is going to kind of come back to bite them or not, because I would say so much of it is about the playmaking with this Poppy, right? You know, sure, rocket jump gives you a lot of safety, unless you actually get stopped by the steadfast presence and then just instantly die to a Rakan engage, right? You know, things can change very quickly. So it's going to be so much about how GENG executes in the fight, I think, and also about when and where C9 choose to engage. Because a perfectly engaged Alistar, J4, Galio flying in, sneaky free in the backline looks great, but you choose the wrong fight where someone is there for the counter engage and Poppy knocks out your front line and the Tristana dies, well, hey, that's a totally different ballgame.
Yeah, absolutely the case. We saw some really big Poppy ultimates back in EULCS. It is quite literally game-changing.
Yeah.
Especially when you get around the objectives like the Baron, like the Dragon, but those are still many minutes away. We're not even 10 minutes into
Blabber.
Jensen won't be able to get the punch to the face, but does land the taunt. Weaver's wall comes down, and Haru's going to look for the seismic shove. Flash away from Blabber. But that is still, you know, a turnaround. Remember, C9 started that fight. Haru responded.
And it is a trade of flashes, so certainly not bad. And this is why you bring Blabber in. It's aggression, right?
Yeah.
And you can't expect every single gank to work against a team like GENG, but they are certainly not allowing Crown to play the game he wants to play, to dominate in the 1v1. He's constantly being pressured, and I think the trade of flashes there is certainly fine. You could look to roam this again. Licorice coming down. Potentially they look for something. The Infernal has been started, but C9 knows this is available.
Blabber can't get in, will be a little too slow to the party.
Yeah.
So GENG pick up the first Drake of the game at 9 minutes. I like seeing Licorice roam. We've not looked at this Urgot into Poppy matchup a lot. They're bang on even in CS. Ninja Tabby and Bomby Cinder already picked up Cuvée, but we're getting to the point where they could consider roaming. I'm just going to keep my eyes on when teleports will be available.
Yeah, definitely the case. I think Licorice is certainly going to have priority, so he has an easier time roaming because he should have the push in most of the circumstances. So, you know, if he pushes in Cuvée, he can look to go mid and try to help out there, or maybe try to play for a Rift Herald. But when Cuvée has that TP available, the impact of a Poppy flank with a TP is so devastating.
Yeah.
So certainly they're going to have to make sure they're really tracking those cooldowns. But, I mean, this is a dead-even game.
Yes. And that's exactly what you wanted. You wanted to see that from Cloud9. And for GENG, just a reminder that yes, they are 0-2 in the group, but both of their previous games, you know, GENG looked very competitive. They had a significant gold lead against Vitality. They were in the lead against RNG before they lost one big team fight, but this entire game has been about mid lane so far. Ignite's thrown down into Jensen. Zeyzal comes in to help out.
Here's Blabber. No, he's not going to commit to it. They don't know where the support is, so I mean, nice try there from Zeyzal, but Crown was just too fast with the ultimate. If he actually didn't get the ultimate off in time, Zeyzal would have straight up gotten that kill, but he does commit both summoners and not able to execute on it. They are trying to protect Jensen here now, though. Allow him to get the push, allow him to reset. You can very clearly see C9 has put so much emphasis into keeping Jensen in this 1v1 and trying to get him an edge.
Yeah, despite being, what, 15-odd CS down, he's marginally ahead in gold. So, of course, Crown's kill is helping out there a whole lot. And it is even in every other lane. Sneaky's already got the Storm Razors completed.
Yeah.
That is a great sign. And we're seeing a pretty extended trade there in the top lane as Haru and Core JJ are littering wards. So top lane, bottom lane dive at some points.
And this is honestly really what you want to see, you know, out of a team like Cloud9. This is the style of game that you would see them playing in the NALCS, right? You want to see teams play your game, play your style. Don't be scared of what the opponent is going to do, because if you see the pacing of the game, if you say, all right, we're just going to back up and we're going to try to respond, you've already lost against a team of this quality. So Cloud9 certainly, not all of their punches are landing, but they are swinging.
Yeah, I mean, you can see there, Zeyzal tries to go in for that engage. 4JJ easily escapes, and Zeyzal's now lost his ultimate. So with the wards that were already placed in the bottom quadrant of the jungle, and the fact you've got a Talia, there is a very real threat of a dive. Haru's going to hold on to that seismic shove for now, and Sneaky and Zeyzal, they're not done yet. Jumping onto Rulo, still got both summoners.
Yeah, and I mean, while they did get Zeyzal's ult, they got Core JJ's ult and his Ignite. So honestly, not too bad there for the C9 duo, and you know, while they do have pressure, you don't want to let this reset. That's going to be really awkward. Okay.
Managed to get it just in the nick of time. But that's really useful. I mean, when you consider no towers have fallen yet, and Rift Herald for C9, again with Blabber, again from moves from Blabber, I'm very impressed with his opening game here at Worlds. Blabber playing to what you expect from an ALCS. And now we need to see whether or not C9 can survive if a dive happens.
Yeah, this is going to be scary now for Sneaky. He's in a potential 1v3 type situation. I don't think they know exactly where Zeyzal is, though. So that is kind of what is making them hesitate to actually go for it. And while Blabber has mostly been the one making the plays, Haru has been able to respond. He has prioritized farming. He has gotten a lot of levels here. He's actually 2 levels up currently on Blabber. He took the Infernal. So Haru has been going for the consistent play, the consistent move, where he is guaranteeing gold advantages, where he's guaranteeing neutral objectives. And you know, that is something that is certainly a very viable strategy itself.
Yeah, and it's definitely something that's going to prove to be impactful in these next few team fights. I mean, gold is even between Blabber and Haru, but when you factor in the additional stats of 2 levels, that gives you a significant advantage on the GENG side. And you know, every single time I see these Samsung skins, I'm reminded, of course, GENG, the defending world champions, former Samsung Galaxy. They need to pick up a win here. Going down 0-3 in the group.
Ooh, roaming up. They might look for this fight here. Zeyzal's coming.
It's a terrifying prospect, and GENG Crown is caught out, knocked up in the air, taunted in place. All right, we'll be able to revive in a moment. How much time can Core JJ buy? Blabber dunks the kill down. Teleport's coming in from Licorice as well, so this will mean a pressure onto the tower, and they're going to summon the Rift Herald as well. Yeah,
they've got to get more when you actually go through with that teleport. They need to try to get this turret. Nice Talia wall, though, is going to kind of disrupt this a little bit. And Sneaky did go down to the bottom side, so I don't think they'll actually be able to finish the turret still. They get the charge off. They do have Kube back in base, and he's looking for a potential TP flank here, so C9 has to be sure to not overstay.
Yeah, this is threatening and scary.
Yeah.
There is pressure on the bottom tower, so if Cloud9 don't concede anything, then Sneaky will get a lot of uncontested time and damage. It ends up being a kill to Cloud9, but nothing more than that.
Yeah, still, nicely done by Cloud9. They're taking their chances. They're looking for these plays constantly. That's what you want to see with this composition. Sneaky is up to farm on the Lucian. You're going to feel really good about that as the Tristana and the fact that Cloud9 are turning in a pretty solid game.
Yeah, I think Jensen's in a whole lot of trouble. Sticks around, gets punished by a 4-man roam. And I actually think it's really problematic as Haru that picks that kill up. He's already, fairly far ahead of Blabber.
Yeah.
And he's just going to accelerate his item build.
Yeah, and I mean, Talia puts out so much damage here, especially when it is kind of a soul magic threat. People are going to be looking more towards armor. You can see a couple of ninja heavies picked up, right? People are going to be itemizing more towards that very often. And if Haru gets to a quick double spell pen, that is a terrifying Talia that certainly has the potential to take you down with one flame.
So 15 minutes in, Tower First Blood will be secured by GENG in the bottom lane. This extends the gold lead to 2,000. They already have an Infernal Drake in their pockets and a Cloud Drake available to be secured. So the game is playing out a little bit as expected in the favor of GENG. It was the team coming in expected to win. But Cloud9, they are still close enough. They've got all the tools with this team composition to very easily turn team fights around.
Yeah, and they're looking for a play here down on bottom lane. You can see Kube is backed up, looking for a potential TP. There was 4 members cheating down to the bottom side as well.
And of course, there's no TPs on the side of Cloud9. Licorice is sitting on Ghost Flash. Jensen's is on cooldown. Yes, he's got the ultimate available, but needs to be close enough and anticipating it. I've been impressed by GENG's vision. They've had a lot of control in that bottom quadrant for the majority of this laning phase.
Yeah, they really have. And really kind of the biggest mistake has just been for C9, that one pick on Jensen. That was really the kill into the bottom lane turret. And besides that, the gold was quite even. GENG is sitting at a comfortable advantage now, with the double dragons, with the gold. You're going to start seeing some items completed a little bit faster than Cloud9 can do. But still, they have a very good late game teamfight composition. Certainly are still going to have their chances. And I think one of the nicest things to see here as a Cloud9 fan is that they are being pretty conscious of where Haru can be, and he has not been able to be finding a lot of ultimates to kind of just cut people off.
I completely agree. Every time we look at Sneaky and Zeyzal, they feel like they're backing off at the right time. They are respecting any potential engage, and they haven't been punished more. And I can't get away from the fact I love Tristan in his late game team fights. I look at this team on GENG. Aatrox, yes, has the passive to come back to life. Isn't the tank? Yes. But let's see what Cuvée can do. Goes all the way forward, throws down the hammer shot. Zeyzal's in range. Blabber's coming too.
Yeah, and I mean, honestly, as a GENG fan, one of the things you're going to like is how little damage Cuvée just took there from Sneaky. Because the only AP threat on this team is Galio, and he's just going to pure stack armor here. Cloud9 will be able to trade a turret and perhaps actually get the mid lane one as well, which is very low. But you can see Crown is running out there to defend it. We'll see which choice he makes, because Cloud9 could just continue to push bot lane and try to get mid lane at the same time.
Oh man, okay, splitting the map on multiple sides. Ruler will take down the top tower, and Cuvée and Crown defend bottom inner. Haru's waiting to cut off any sort of retreat path. So there is a collapse potential. Haru's going to step forward, make his presence known, and Cloud9 come out better in this scenario.
Yeah, only a 1K gold advantage. Both teams, making the plays where they can, respecting the power of their opponents. GENG is making the play on the top side. Kuvey defends as long as he can. Hey realizes it's an uneven side of the map. I will back off. The teams are playing a very intelligent game. We really are setting up for that team fight stage where it's going to come down to execution. It's going to come down to which team gets the better engage, which team plays those fights out perfectly. And certainly Core JJ is going to be looking for Sneaky on these engages.
He's going to be able to find Jensen now if GENG want this.
It's a scary man to
or
dive.
Zeyzal. Zeyzal's got flash and ultimate. We'll be able to throw the ultimate down and just get burnt through. I mean, 3-on-1 in that scenario. Now all of a sudden Jensen's the target. Yes, he gets the taunt and enough time to flash out to safety, but flash burned, kill onto Zeyzal. GENG in control of the map.
Yeah, you pointed out their vision, and that is really what got them the advantage. They have so many more wards on this side of the map. These offensive pigs are allowing them to set up for these plays, allowing them to get those advantages, and it's a nice move there for GENG. Now they get the flash off Jensen, they get the kill and ultimate from Zeyzal, and you know, GenG certainly look very poised. They look like they know exactly what they want to do in this game, and that is really playing heavily for Vision, for Engage.
And I need to see Cloud9 just clean up a little bit. You know, there's been some plays that they've been punished. We'll talk about that in a moment as 4JJ flies across the map. He takes one auto for his troubles, but Cloud9 setting up at least some sort of vision on this right quadrant, maybe for a split push.
Yeah.
Can't quite tell. But yeah, I want to see Cloud9 not get caught out in those scenarios as Haru secures the blue buff there, because it's those small mistakes, those small picks that just allow GenG to accelerate the game, take objective after objective, and that's what kills you at the end of the day.
Yeah, it really is. And GenG's honestly just doing a good job creating time to ward, creating time to get vision by pushing out these side lanes. You see Crown shoves out the top lane. Now they know, okay, Cloud9's going to be down here on this quadrant of the map. You can reset, you can try to get vision elsewhere. And so really, it has been about the fact that poor JJ and Haru and Ruler kind of moving around as this squad. And Zeyzal was trying to fight that vision battle on his own and walks out, gets caught, but certainly easier said than done because your carries are trying to catch farm on all sides. You're trying to keep up in that regard. And GenG is kind of just moving a little bit faster as far as the vision goes.
And that's why GenG are about 1,500 gold up. You know, we've crested the 20-minute mark, so Baron is alive, albeit not going to be focused right now, maybe not for a little while. As there are still plenty of talent to fight over, and Blabber decides to go in. A lot of GenG members are around, gets pinned into the wall, knocked up into the air. Here comes Jensen. But Blabber's already down.
Got no flash, he's gonna die too.
Retreating, gets caught in place. The punch is interrupted, and Cloud9 starts a fight that they cannot finish.
That was just a terrible engage there from Blabber. Honestly, may just be game losing here as he goes in onto Kuve.
Well, here comes Crown. He jumps onto Sneaky. Sneaky uses the rocket jump away. Crown will get chunked down. Throws down the world.
They're still on the Baron, though.
Time. How much HP does it have? 3,000. There's no smite available in Cloud9. They're not going to go in for a 21-minute Baron secured by GenG.
Yeah, Cloud9 had been playing them pretty tightly up until now, but that may be the game-deciding play. Blabber flag and drags in onto Kuve there, and the team makes the call to try to back him up, to try to defend that play, but Zeyzal then follow-up engage onto, again, Kuve, their tankiest member by far. They don't even dent his health, and this is not the kind of play you can make. I'm not sure what he was thinking. I mean, they didn't even have vision in the brush, so maybe he was trying to go in and clear something out or thought someone else was there. I'm honestly a bit confused, but either way, does make the engage, and GenG punishes them so heavily. Jensen, without his flash from the earlier mid lane dive, meant they get a second kill, they get the Baron, they're now way ahead and likely to pick up even more gold on the map.
Absolutely the case, and you know, I am happy when you see a player come in and they do play to their style, but I am sad when I see it cost the team, because that really is what we were anticipating and expecting when you see Blabber subs out from Svenskeren, and unfortunately Cloud9 are now down 4,000 gold. Baron's in GenG's hands, and you can see them pushing this vision forward. They're pushing mid, they're pushing bottom. GenG just want to accelerate this again.
Yeah, and it seems like Cloud9 are going to try to just engage and try to catch the members away from the rest of the team, but you can see Haru lurking, getting ready to potentially cut off Licorice if he does go down to defend there, and GenG about to pick up a couple turrets.
Well, look, Sneaky's got the rapid fire cannon and the Storm Razor, so if he can get a squishier target, there is enough damage, but the problem is you need to find a way past Crown and Kuve, and it's very, very difficult. Crown doesn't care about Licorice in this bottom lane. He's 1, 2, and 3 on Aatrox. And he's just going to be playing a split push game with his Baron-powered minions. Yeah,
the Baron just gives them so much access to these turrets. There's really such difficulty to actually clear out those Baron-empowered minions. So C9 really are looking for an engage here. Hex Flash is bailed out of, but it's going to be likely another mid lane turret here for GenG unless they decide to make the call to go.
Well, GenG want to cut off any sort of retreat path, look for an engage. That's a pin, but I don't think Zeyzal was stunned. He manages to get the ultimate, or use the ultimate to cancel the stun, rather. And GenG, they get the tower. They don't get additional kills, but they've got the bottom inner turret as well. And this is a very, very effective use of the Baron Siege.
I mean, they're moving so quickly with this Baron. It's not as though they're being held at the turret for a couple waves. They are going, they're executing, they're threatening to dive with the Talia, and now on a Sneaky.
Well, Sneaky's dead. He just gets caught right out. Poor JJ finds his man. GenG in a 5-on-4 now, looking for another kill. Manages to catch out Licorice as well. Crown takes him down. GENG have got 8 kills on the board, 6 towers under their belt, and in 2.5 minutes of Baron have already got themselves an inhibitor.
I think they may have themselves the game here. Kuve's going to TP in, and they're just going to look to end it at 24 minutes.
This is a 5 versus 3, and Cloud9 have no AD carry. Nexus turret number 1 is being focused down. GENG want to pick up their first win of group. They want to take down Cloud9, and they've already got the tools to do it. 30 seconds left on Baron. Blabber forced to flash for his life. The Nexus turret falls down. GENG stop focusing down the Nexus. They'll need a little bit more time. Here comes Cloud9. They need to interrupt. They need to stop the hit.
He's up.
Buster shot buys a little more, but Sneaky's left alone. 5 versus 1. GENG pick up their first win at Worlds.
And what an explosive engage. An explosive series of plays there for GENG. They win the fight around Baron, take it decisively, knock down multiple turrets, and then Core JJ finds the pick on Sneaky that will end the game. That was such a fast turn of events. I mean, it went from dead even to 3 minutes later, the game is done.
Does it not remind you of how GENG lost to RNG yesterday? One opportunity is presented, and it is capitalized on in the biggest fashion.
Really was. Just an incredible engage there from Core JJ. They just needed the one mistake, really, from Cloud9 to find Sneaky in. Without their carry, Cloud9 really had no hope of defending.
Azale, this group is now extremely interesting. The first stage of the round robin is concluded with RNG at 3-0, and then you have Cloud9